All right, so we're talking about long division. So your do now today was going over long division. What was the first thing you did with long division? In a regular problem, what was the first thing you did?
Take the box and put it in the box.
Okay, you set it up, right? You put your dividend in the box. That was the first number. You have your dividend, your divisor, and your quotient is your solution. Those words sound familiar? Dividend, divisor, quotient. Okay. So the first thing is making sure that you set it up, putting in the division symbol. So remembering that if you have A divided by B, you're going to equal your C, your quotient, right? So when you're setting it up, putting it in the box, your A goes inside, your B goes on the outside, and your C is going to end up being in the top of the house, right? I forgot my little tail here.
Don't.
There's not a tail on there. No. There we go. Tail is for square root. I was like, why am I putting a tail? Okay. So essentially what you're doing every single time is you're going to divide. So you're going to look at your first terms and you're going to say, what can I multiply to get to the next, to get to this, right, Kaden? Yeah. What can I multiply? And then you write that on top. So essentially you're dividing. After that, then you're going to multiply what you wrote as your part of your quotient. And then we're going to make our next level. Our next thing is what you end up subtracting, right? So if you said on the first one, what was it? On your do now, it went in there one time, right? Was it one time? Two or one? One. It went in one time. So you multiplied, right? After you multiply, you then did what? You hopefully subtracted, right? So we divide, we multiply, we subtract, and then we bring down and repeat the process, okay? It is going to be the same thing that we're doing here. We're going to divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. I remember some teacher using, does McDonald's sell burgers as a way for students to remember divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. My teacher did not use that, but I do remember someone else's teacher doing that. She just told us divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing here. I will say that if you have multiple colors, that it is helpful to do this in multiple colors as you're learning it. So if you have multiple colors, different color pencil or pen, it does make it a little easier to see the pattern as you are working the problem. But is it necessary? No, but it is helpful. All right, so step one says that we're going to write the first polynomial inside the division sign. When we write it inside, we want to make sure that all terms are there. So there's nothing missing from a power of 2 all the way down to a power of 0. Okay, so that's going to go inside. So we have 3x squared minus 13x plus 8. Then we're going to write our divisor on the outside, which is x minus 4. So that's step 1 and step 2. Okay. Step 3 is just asking you, you're going to divide your leading terms. Okay. It's always with the leading terms. So right now, our leading term is 3x squared. So we're going to divide 3x squared by x. So I'm going to do 3x squared divided by x. This right here eventually should be something you're doing in your head. But as you're learning it, you should write it out. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to divide by 3x squared, and what do I get? 3x. Do we all agree that this equals 3x? Okay, that is part of your quotient. Okay, that's our divide part. Now we're going to multiply. So I'm going to take the 3x, and I'm going to multiply it by my divisor, which is x minus 4. And when I multiply 3x times x minus 4, it equals 3x squared minus 12x.
Bless you.
Questions, comments, concerns so far? So we divided, now we've multiplied. Now we're going to subtract. Notice right here where it says subtract means you're going to switch all the signs. Do you see that? What does subtract mean in this case? We're going to switch all the signs and then we're going to combine like terms. So I'm switching. So I got 3x squared minus 12x. So when I subtract, it's going to become negative 3x squared plus 12x. And I write underneath the polynomial, I'm going to combine like terms. So the goal is to get rid of your first term. Does my first term go away?
Yes.
Yes. I'm going to combine like terms here, and I'm left with negative 1x. And then I'm going to bring down and start the process again. So again, we divide it, we multiply, we subtract, and then we bring down. Okay, we divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Now I'm going to do it again. This time my leading term is negative 1x, and I'm at divided by x. So I'm going to divide in my head, negative 1x divided by x, and that equals what? Negative 1. So this is now part of my quotient. So after we divide, we then do what? Multiply. So I'm going to multiply negative 1 times my divisor, and my divisor is x minus 4. That's going to give me negative x plus 4. We divide, multiply, subtract. And what does it mean when you're subtracting? You're going to switch the sign. So instead of a negative x, it's going to become a positive x. Instead of a positive 4, it's going to become a negative 4. I eliminate, and I'm left with 4. Okay, this is my remainder. And that is okay. Having a remainder tells me that x minus 4 is not a factor. Okay, if you get 0, then what you divided by is a factor. Did we get 0? No. So it is not a factor. So my solution is 3x minus 1, and you don't write remainder. You write plus 4 over your divisor. So it's your remainder over your divisor. So 3x squared minus 13x plus 8 divided by x minus 4 is 3x minus 1 plus 4 over x minus 4. Okay, so what that means is no matter what I plug in for x, so let's say I want to know what is x, like x at x equals 2, right? Instead of me plugging it into each one of these and evaluating, I would just plug it into the quotient that I got, and I would find what the answer would be at 2. All right, questions, comments, concerns, because this is the base level of it. Okay, our next example is going to be an example of where we have to use what I call fillers. Okay, when you're missing a term from the highest power down to 0, you're going to fill it in with zeros. Okay, so notice here it just goes from x cubed to 1. So I'm missing x squared and x to the 1. Do you see that? So when I do step 1 is to write inside of the division house, I'm going to fill in 0. So I have x cubed plus 0x squared plus 0x minus 1. So our takeaway here is we use 0 as our filler. Okay, on the outside is still my divisor, and my divisor is x minus 1. So steps 1 and step 2 are done. Now you're going to go through the other steps where we divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Okay, so I'm going to divide x cubed divided by x. So in my head, I'm doing x cubed divided by x, and that equals what? X squared. So that's part of my quotient. Okay, after I divide, I'm then going to multiply. So we have x squared times x minus 1 Here we go. So we're gonna then multiply, and when we multiply, we get x cubed minus x squared. Okay, after we multiply, so we divide, multiply, subtract. And what does subtract mean that's happening? You're changing the sign. So instead of a positive x cubed, it's gonna be a negative x cubed. Instead of a negative x squared, it's gonna be a positive x squared. And now we combine. 0 plus 1 is 1. And then last but not least, we bring down. And now you repeat the steps again. So I'm going to divide x squared divided by x. So I'm dividing x squared divided by x. That's going to give me x. Then I'm going to multiply x times my divisor, which gives me x squared minus 1x. And then we subtract. So when we subtract, we get negative x squared plus 1x. And then we bring down. So I'm bringing down negative 1. Because this is going to cancel, and I'm left here. Sorry. And I can do it again. So I'm going to do it again. So we have 1x minus 1. Now we're going to divide. What is 1x divided by x? 1. So we're going to have, I forgot my x up here. Now we have plus 1. And then we're going to multiply x minus 1. And then we change signs. And what do you notice happened now? It cancels out. Everything zeroes out. So that tells us that x minus 1 is a factor. And that our quotient is x squared plus x plus 1. So again, what's on the right-hand side is your thought process. If you have to write it out, then by all means, please write it out. But as you start doing it, you gradually have to write less and less. Okay, so do we understand the difference of how we know if a divisor is a factor or not? Okay, it's not a factor if there is a remainder. It is a factor if there is no remainder. Okay, what a factor means that if I have x minus 1, I can then factor this to find out my remaining zeros. Does that make sense? And your zeros are your x-intercepts. Yeah, x-intercepts, your solutions, your where the function equals 0. All right. Let's try some bigger ones. So here we have a quartic. And we have x squared plus 2x plus 3. Huh? We need some fillers. Well, we need a filler, right? What is missing? The cube, right? The x cubed is missing. So when I put this underneath, I need to make sure I include the cube. Okay, for this one, I'm going to do it without all the extra writing. I'm going to do it as if I'm just in my head, and we're going to write it all up. So we're going to. So we have 4x to the 4th, and I have to put plus 0x cubed minus x squared minus 18x plus 8. And this time I have a 3-term divisor. So we have x squared plus 2x plus 3. Okay, my leading term is going to always, my leading term on the outside is going to always be x squared. The leading term underneath the division symbol is going to always change, right? Your goal is to cancel it out. So we're starting here. What is 4x to the 4th divided by x squared? or
X squared.
x squared. I'd like more people to respond that we understand, but here we go. We'll take the 2. All right. 4 minus 2 is 2. Remember, when you're dividing exponents, you're just subtracting the powers, right? Okay. So we have 4x to the 4th, and that's going to leave us 4x squared. I'm going to multiply all 3 terms by 4x squared. So 4x squared times x squared is 4x squared. 4x squared times 2x is 8x cubed. 4x squared times 3 is going to give me 12x squared. Huh? Where do you see a negative on this? Oh, I thought you said negative. I was like, oh, I dropped my 4. Yes, sorry. Lo siento. I am about to, yeah. Yep.
Really, Miss Jones. Really, Miss Jones.
What did I do?
You said you like you left stuff on the side.
No, we're doing it out loud. We got this. All right. So now we're down to the subtracting part, right? We divide, we multiply. Now we're going to subtract. And what does subtracting mean I'm doing? Changing the signs and combining like terms, right? Changing the signs and combining like terms. Negative, 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 because they were all positives. Now we're going to combine like terms. These cancel, which is our goal. And we're left with negative 8x cubed minus 13x squared. Do we see that? And now we're about to bring down, exactly. And the last step before we start repeating the process is bring down. So we divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down till we can't no more. Okay, here we go. Now we have negative 8x cubed divided by x squared. That's going to be negative 8, right? And what is 3 minus 2? 1. So negative 8x cubed divided by x squared is negative 8x. Okay, after we divide, we then are going to multiply. What is negative 8x times x squared? Negative 8x cubed. What is negative 8x times 2x? Negative 16x squared. What is negative 8x times 3? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we've multiplied, then we're going to subtract. And what does subtraction mean? Change the signs and combine like terms. Change the signs and combine like terms. So I'm going to change the signs and combine like terms. These cancel. I'm left with 3x squared. And I'm left with plus 6x. After that, I'm then going to bring down. Okay, then we got to do it one more time. So we're going to divide 3x squared divided by x squared is 3. Positive 3. After we divide, we're going to multiply. 3 times x squared is 3x squared. 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times 3 is 9. And then we're going to do what? Subtract. And subtracting means to do what? Change signs and combine like terms. So negative, negative, negative. Eliminates, eliminates. And what are we left with? Negative 1. That's our remainder. So we know that we have minus 1 over, and what was our divisor? X squared plus 2x minus 3. So we know that x squared plus 2x plus 3 is not a factor. What's wrong?
This part, this makes sense.
Without the writing on the side?
Yeah, he doesn't want the writing on the side.
All right,
Yeah, it's weird. I'm like,
Huh?
That second thing.
I think you were wrong on the divisor.
oh, I wrote a negative, thank you. All right, here's your turn to show off. All right, I'm gonna stop talking and you're gonna go. I'm sure y'all are geniuses, so let's see what you did. Did we need to use any fillers? Nope, we didn't. So you had 2x to the fourth plus 4x to the third minus 5x squared plus 3x minus 2 divided by x squared plus 2x minus 3. All right, you divided 2x to the fourth divided by x squared gave you 2x squared. Then you multiply and you got 2x to the fourth plus 4x to the third minus 6x squared. Then we subtracted, changing all of our signs. And we end up, pew, pew. And what do we get? So we're left with x squared. And we're going to bring down our plus 3x and our minus 2. And then we repeat. What is x squared divided by x squared? 1. Hopefully we all got 1. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. And then we multiply everything times 1 and you get x squared plus 2x minus 3. We subtract, changing signs and combining like terms. And we are left with x plus 1. So our remainder here is x plus 1 over x squared plus 2x minus 3. How did we do? Yeah? Doable? All right, awesome. Your assignment is reprinting because it did something really weird.